those years we audited. I became very familiar with the process of how the mayor works with the city manager, with the city council, and I saw firsthand how wonderful a city can be ran when they all are in agreement and put the city's best interests at heart. They were able to accomplish many great things. It's the communities as small as Bovina, but I also witnessed firsthand when there's strife, you know, the lack, they weren't growing. There's too much going on there. So in seeing that, I'm able to bring some of that and kind of see the dynamics of the importance of working together, the importance of communicating with one another. We should have one goal, and that's to progress Bovina in the right direction, towards growth. Also, I'm familiar with the grants, what we have to, you know, comply with as far as federal guidelines, et cetera, how to obtain them, and what's required of the community to comply by them. And I'm Hispanic. I know shouldn't be about race, but it can be in a small community, and I'm able to speak to a lot of the community that some may not be able to just because of the color of my skin. While it may not be right, it is unfortunately a fact here. And I'm not afraid to go out there and speak to the Hispanic community and help educate them and make them a part of the solution to helping Bovina grow.
Mr. Steelman, would you describe what your qualifications are?
I feel like I'm qualified to run for the city council. I've had a lot of business interests, and I've worked with numbers a lot, and as well as can see what's going on a daily basis around town. I just think it needs. I just want to be a good member of the council, and also I feel like I have some leadership ability that. And I feel like I can get along with anybody. I think I can get along with anybody on the council now or anybody that's elected. But, you know, I want us to work together instead of not working apart from each other. It's not about division, but we need to bring this thing together.
Mr. Ramos, how or why do you believe that you're qualified to serve on the city council?
I believe I'm qualified to serve on the city council. I served on the school board for about a year and a half, and I know what it's like to serve with other people, a group of his board members then will be council members now, and what it is to come to consensus, to be able to form a consensus with the group of people that you're governing with, and that's my goal too, to be able to persuade people and get people into agreement. You know, we can do a lot of things to smooth things out in Bovina and make things run and work good. And there's some decisions that probably sometimes people have a hard time deciding which way to go, but I think with a little encouragement and nudge, and you can get people into agreement to do the right things, I guess, and they're serving, and I'm a business owner, and know what it's like to have to budget things and live within the money that you're bringing in and the things that you can afford and can't afford, and I'm just looking forward to having the chance to serve.
And finally, Ms. Riddle, how or why do you believe that you are qualified to serve if elected to the city council?
Well, as I said, I've had some experience with bookkeeping and that kind of thing, and some auditing type things. But, okay, right in the mouth, huh? Sorry. Normally my voice, I don't do this, but I'll use it. Also, I think everybody here tonight has a deep interest in Bovina. And like I said, I've worked on the council. I know how important it is to pay attention and look at our budgeting and also other things that are going on in town, and look to the future to see how we can make Bovina better. Of course, I don't have any children in school now, but we've had children here and raised our family here, and we love Bovina. In fact, John Lennon said, I told him, I said, we ought to sell our house and go to the mountains. And he said, looked at me, he said, I'm leaving this house feet first. And I did tell him it might be a little sooner than I was expecting it to be. But anyway, this is home. I love this town. I love the people here. Can I have another minute? That one didn't last long, did it? Okay. Anyway, the people in our community, Bovina has changed, and we have to change with it. We have, of course, I taught Spanish for many years, and I love the Hispanic community. The people are wonderful people, kind, caring, loving, and then I've known all the people here in Bovina too for all these years, and they're all kind, caring, and loving. And I think we can come together and work hard and make our city into a place where people will want to come and live. Kind of like Stan said, we need to be looking for the future, and right now growth is what we need, and that'll be the only way we can get it, if we can all get together and work together.
Okay, we have a question from the audience that we're going to ask. This time we'll start in the middle. We'll start with Jeff and do Jeff and Matt, and then the ladies on each end. Here is the question. What do you think the best way is to understand what is going on in the city? Some examples are listen to others, newspapers, go to meetings, etc. So what do you think the best way is to understand what is going on in the city?
Well, if you're on the council, you need to see what's going on as far as in your meetings, as well as people around town talking to you. You need to be looking, see where the money's spent on everything. Everything needs to be looked at in that area. Expenses for the city need to be looked at. In income also. The biggest complaint I'm hearing is the huge raise in our utility rates. So that's something that we don't want to. We don't want any more of that. We got to figure out how to do it on less money. So that's it.
Mr. Ramos, what would you say? What's the best way to know what's going on in the city?
I think for the most part, from what I've seen, as far as people that have been on city council and around town, a lot of times people are going to come. They're going to take their concerns to a council member or several council members if they don't think they get the ear of the one they take it to first. And so a lot of times if council members were just either just from conversation with people that they know around town or things that they see themselves that come up, it's easy kind of it's a small town and everybody knows. It doesn't take long for wind to get around what's going on, and if people are upset with something, or if they're happy with something, or if they think that something needs to be changed, anyways, that news usually travels just through communication lines, through just being a small town, and the way word travels in a small town, and and then just like Jeff said, being at city council meetings and knowing what's going on with the city. I know I went to one here recently, and they couldn't figure out where a bunch of money was spent, and surely there should have been some invoices that tracked all that, and surely those invoices should be able to be made available to the council members, that they can look at them themselves and see where the money's being spent. And I think if we'll just keep open communication with our neighbors and communication with the city manager, we can make this work pretty good.
Ms. Robledo, how would you answer? What do you think the best way is to understand what's going on in the city?
Well, I too agree that, attending city council meetings, seeing what they're discussing, but at the same time, meeting with the mayor, meeting with your city manager. They may know of issues we're not aware of, seeing, what are they doing in the process? What do we need to know about it? Getting together, speaking to your school board members. They know what's going on with the students, with the schools. School employees know a lot of what's going around in the town. So do churches. Just talk to your preachers, but most important, just talk to the people of this community. You'd be amazed at what you'll hear. I'm not saying it's always right, but it gives you information, it gives you a good starting point.
And Ms. Riddle, how would you answer? What is the best way to understand what's going on in the city?
Well, I would suggest going to council meetings, and I would suggest also going to council members and visiting with them about what's going on. I'm not a great fan of listening to what's told all around the city, I'm sorry, because you have to take that with a grain of salt. But you have to pay attention, and it has to be on your heart too. You have to know that you really care about this and what's going on. And I really think if you have confidence in your council members, then you could go to them and they'll tell you. In fact, I've talked to a couple of council members, one recently, about some things that were going on, and get more there than, really come to the meeting and you'll probably find out more than you would listening to somebody else or talking to a council person. It's the way I feel about it. Keep it, you don't want to air all your dirty laundry, so rather than be gossiping about it, I think it's better to go to the source and ask.
Okay, another question from the audience. Again, we're gonna ask that you don't make promises that you can't keep, but we do want to ask this question. It's already been raised both in the responses and by a question from an audience member. It says, will the city utility bills continue to be raised? And perhaps a better way to address that to each of you is, what is your view on how and when city utilities need to be raised and must be raised? Okay, let's start with Ms. Robledo again.
Well, when it comes to raising anything, we're not big fans of that. I think the most important thing is to ask, why is it being raised? Is there any other way of raising the money? And we have to look at it. Is it something that's going to benefit Bovina and move us forward? Is it going to benefit the community? And this is the only avenue we can take, then I will vote for it. But it won't be something that I do lightly. It'll be something that I would take the time to ask the questions of the individuals involved and see if it truly does benefit our community, and if it is the only way to raise that revenue.
Mr. Steelman.
I think you got to look at all the expenses and incomes, and also look at what you're doing. My thinking, the city's main course is take care of your water, sewer, trash, streets, police protection, and then the secondary stuff. You got to be careful how you spend the city's taxpayers' money. Some kind of growth deal that doesn't that's, you got a widow woman out here that can't afford her bill, and you go up on that just so you can build something that doesn't help everybody in the city. I think we got to watch that. I think we need to run the city first.
Mr. Ramos.
Well, the question whether we'll raise them again, I hope not. I certainly, and there was a promise made that the $18 that they went up was going to come back off, and if I get on city council, come hell or high water, that's going to happen. I mean, there was no reason, I don't think, to raise it that much to begin with, and like Jeff said, there's a lot of people in Bovina that are on fixed incomes, and that hurts them the most. They're not. It's hard for them to come up with that extra money each month, and I just don't. What I'm upset a lot about Bovina is what the problem is nationwide. I think, and our federal government and state governments is bloated government, and I think that's happening in Bovina too. There's a lot of things that we spend money on that we don't need to, like Jeff said, we do not need to spend money on. The city's got certain responsibilities, and we need to meet those. And a bunch of things are froof and frills, and I think we want nice things for the city. When you're talking about taxpayers' monies, you need to be good stewards of that, and sometimes you can't get all the neat things and the nice things, and recently I think we were going to spend $50,000 or something to upgrade computer systems, and to me that's outrageous, especially whenever we didn't have enough money because we had to raise the water rates. All that, if we didn't have any money, I'm not sure why we're spending $50,000 on upgrading computer systems that you can buy a lot of computers and a lot of computer programs for $50,000, I would think, and I don't think, I just don't see where that's coming into need in the city. I mean, we can go right back to pen and paper before we spend that money.
And Ms. Riddle, how would you address the issue of utility pricing?
Well, I didn't really like that increase. Of course, the city really needed it, and it had been talked about whenever I was on the council, and we just decided that we were not going to do it then, that we would try to manage without that. I'm kind of like the rest of these people. We kind of live close to the pocketbook. If we don't have to spend money on something, well, we don't. We splurge every once in a while. Everybody does, but really, watching those pennies count. And I'm really choked too on the $50,000 for the computer systems. I made the comment that I didn't think we'd have many weddings in this building. Okay. Nothing ever goes down. Think of the last 20 years. The price of everything has gone up. And once it's raised, it probably never goes back down. I know water's a big problem here. I like green grass. I appreciate people not using water so that it's here so I can water my grass. But I pay through the nose for it too, just like the rest of you. But we're not going to put grass on that other house on the far end of that block. We've already changed our mind on that. We're going to be doing something that's more conservative. What can I say? The council did what they thought was best at the time, I'm sure. But it is a hardship on a lot of people. The only thing I can think of is you just look for alternative ways. So it was probably either water bill or property tax, and So if we go like the nation's going, we know which directions it's going to be. Let's just all pray that we don't have to do that.